Hello friends, in today's video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing why I think every single developer needs to learn and understand Terraform. We're going to be doing an example, and then we're going to be seeing why is Terraform a key ingredient in every project we work in, from development to QA to production. And we're going to be seeing how it's going to help us facilitate our deployment as well as our infrastructure journey. So let's get started. We're going to be focusing on Azure today, but this also works with GCP as well as within AWS. So right now in Azure, if I want to create any types of services, what I need to do is I need to go to my Azure portal, and then I need to click on resources. And once I go to resources, I'll be able to see all of the different functionality that the cloud provide. So I can, for example, click on compute. I can see all of the compute services that Azure provide. I can click on databases. Similarly, I can see all of the databases that Azure provide, integration, etc., etc. So let's say for today, to make it very simple, I'm just really interested in storage. So I'm gonna click on storage, and let's say I want to create somewhere in my Azure account that I want to store information in. So if I take a look here, what I can see is I have very much different storage option that I can utilize. And what I want to use in order for me to make my life a bit simple, I'm just going to utilize a normal storage account. And this is the normal process if you're not utilizing any types of Terraform, you're just interacting with Azure normally. So you come here, you click on create. Once you click on create, you're going to be able to see here that you have different configuration options. Once you actually fill this configuration options as well as you fill the information as you go, I'm just going to make it right now any random information here. I'm going to click on next. We're going to be seeing my setup process here where I'm being asked to provide different types of information. For now, I'm just keep it everything as is. It's going to ask me for my networking, again similar as is. Data protection, I'm not going to change anything here. Next. For the encryption, I'm going to leave it to Microsoft managed keys. For the tags, I'm just going to leave it empty, and basically at the end I'm going to do a review, and then once this review has been completed, I can directly click on create, and my account has been created. So we can see here that the way that I currently interact with Azure is going to be mainly on a graphical user interface, where I have to go manually, set up all of the configuration, set up all of the settings that I need. And once I have done that and all of my configuration is set, I'm actually able to utilize this service. And we can see here the problem with this, because basically it's all require a human intervention in order for me to do this. So if I forgot some kind of a configuration, so let's say for example I forgot to add some kind of a networking configuration. For the data protection, if forgot, I choose for example soft delete for blobs if I forgot to enable this. If for the encryption, I decided to use a customer managed keys rather than a MMCs, and from that side, for example, I forgot to upload the keys, etc., etc. So we can see here doing this by manually by the UI can cause a lot of problem. Second of all, if I want to create this for different environments, so for example one for QA, one for development, one for production, one for pre-prod, I have to repeat the same process over and over again. And whenever I'm repeating a single process over and over again, more chances of me getting things wrong is gonna happen as well. It's gonna be more tedious and it's gonna take much more time. And I'm sure there's gonna be a better way, and there is a better way. And this better way can go both ways. So we can either utilize the CLI, which is the command line interface that Azure provide, or we can utilize Terraform. In this video, we're going to be focusing on Terraform. So what is Terraform? Terraform is a language that we can actually utilize in order for us to create the infrastructure in all of the major cloud providers, Azure, AWS, and GCP. With Terraform, what we can do is we can automate all of this manual work that we needed through the browser in order for us to create those resources. Terraform will be able to do all of this for us. And with Terraform, we are able to do much more than this. We're able to scale up our infrastructure. We are actually able to standardize it as well as build a consistent layer across different environments. So Terraform has a lot of different use cases, and as we said, we can utilize it to have a multi-cloud provisioning. We can utilize it to manage our own infrastructure on a single cloud. We can utilize it in order for us to run tests against our infrastructure, security scanning against our infrastructure. There's a lot of different scenarios where Terraform might be much more better case than actually trying to do everything manually on the Azure portal, for example, in order for us to create all of our resources. And Terraform basically have a very big community group, where basically through this community you'll be able to find a lot of the supports that you need. Their tutorial section is amazing, where you're actually able to find anything that you need in order for you to get started. So as you can see here, once I went to the tutorial section, you can see all of the different cloud providers that currently Terraform supports. So we can see we have Azure, AWS, GCP, Docker, etc. So I'm just going to choose on Azure for this video, and it's going to give me a step-by-step of what can I do in order for me to start with Azure. And what I'm going to be doing through this video is we're going to be creating a simple storage account through Terraform Terraform, and we're going to be seeing the different ins and outs that Terraform will actually provide in order for us to see the main benefit of it. So if I go back to my Visual Studio Code here, what I want to do in order for me to get started with Terraform, I'm going to create a file, and this file I'm just going to call it main.tf, and tf stands here for Terraform, and this is the extension, and main, I can just call it main. I can call the file whatever I want. And in order for me to get started, I need to have Terraform installed on my machine. So I have already done that, but if we go back to my web browser, we can see here one of the main steps is how to install Terraform. If you follow the step, you're very easily able to do it. What you can do also, if you go back here, you can actually download Terraform directly from here and install it. You can utilize Homebrew. There's also different ways that you can actually utilize to install Terraform, but you need to make sure that Terraform is installed on your machine. Once Terraform is installed on your machine, we are actually able to utilize it as well. I am, just for transparency's sake, I'm using extensions here for Terraform that allows me to make Visual Studio Code recognize it. So there's the Terraform extensions, there's the HashiCorp extension, and there's the Azure Terraform extension. So again, if you're using Visual Studio Code, make sure you install these different extensions so you'll have the best experience working with it. So now we said that we have Terraform installed and we need to get started. So what do we need to do? So basically Terraform is built on a way where the first thing that we need to do is we need to identify what is the cloud provider that we're going to be utilizing, and then we need to specify some configuration there, and then once we do this specification, then we can actually directly jump into the resources that we need. So let's start first by the configuration. So we do first Terraform, and as you can see, once I specify Terraform, now it started to ask me for the configuration that I need in order for me to utilize it. And the first thing that I need to tell it what are the providers that I want to use, what are the cloud services that I need to utilize in order for Terraform to be able to recognize them and start working with them. And the cloud services I'm going to be utilizing is going to be Azure. And how did I know that? If I go back to my web browser here, we can see here that from within Terraform, I already searched for that, but basically Terraform provide a lot of different connectors to different cloud providers, and the one I'm using is called Azure RM for Microsoft Azure, and we can see the latest version is going to be 3.100, and this is the one that I'm going to be utilizing. If I'm utilizing AWS, it's going to be another provider. So now that I know that I'm utilizing Azure RM, what I need to do is I need to specify the source, and as we can see here, the source for it is gonna be from HashiCorp, and this basically HashiCorp is the company who invented Terraform, and I'm gonna be utilizing Azure RM, and we can see here this is the source code, so everything is publicly available on GitHub if I want to go through it. So what I'm going to do here is all I'm going to do is inside the source, I'm going to put HashiCorp / Azure RM, and the last thing I want to add within this first configuration section is the version. And if we take a look here, the version is going to be 3.100. So I'm going to say the version has to equal 3.100.00 . Okay, perfect. So now what I did here is I actually initialized and did the configuration. Perfect. So once I have done that, now what I want to do is I want to actually see if there's any configuration that I need for Azure specifically. So what I can do here, I can put provider, and then I put Azure RM because this is the provider that I wanted. And I'm going to put, if there's any specific features that I want to utilize, custom features, because there isn't any, I'm just going to leave it empty. So right now, just because I have did this, currently, this project that I'm currently working on is able to recognize that it's going to be utilizing Azure. It's going to able to recognize what versions of API that Azure I'm going to be utilizing as well. I don't need to do anything else. I just can directly start building whatever I need to. So now I have done this, now let's create my first resource group, because if we take a look at my web browser here, if we go back to basic, the first thing that's going to ask me is what is the resource group that I'm going to be taking, and this is going to be what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be creating a resource group, and then I'm going to be utilizing this. The way that I actually can create this within Azure and within Terraform, and the way Terraform takes those commands to create resources is the following. So I need to first specify the keyword resource, and the keyword resource here is basically what are the resources on the cloud that I want to create. And then what it tells me is these are all of the different resources that are available through this package Azure RM that I can utilize to create Azure resources. So what I want to do is I want to utilize a storage account. So I can put Azure RM, actually resource group. So I'm going to put _ resource group. And as we can see here, I have Azure RM resource group. Then what I have here is I have a name, and the name that actually refers to is the variable for this resource. So if we think about normal programming, once I create a variable, I give it a name and then I give it a value. So this is here for this resource of type, let's say we have a variable of type string, I can give it a name, for example, and then I give it a value. And here what I'm doing is I'm creating a variable of type as a resource group. I'm giving it a name here. I can call it demo _ rg, and then now I want to give it the value. The value has to go within those brackets, and the first value that I want to give it here is the name. And for this resource group, I'm gonna call it demo-youtube-live-example, for example. I can call it whatever, like let's keep it simple, demo-youtube-live. And once I've done this, there's other items that I need to specify before this variable initialization is complete. The second one is gonna be the location. And the location is, if we go back again here, we can see that the default location is gonna be UK South. So it's gonna be the same one that I'm gonna be utilizing. So I'm just gonna put UK South. And once I have done this, and I can directly now create a resource group that I can utilize. So let's see how we can do this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my terminal, and within this terminal, what I wanna do is I wanna start communicating or basically executing my Terraform code. And the first command that I'm gonna utilize is gonna be Terraform init, because it's a brand new project. And what I want to do here is I want to actually initialize Terraform inside my project. And I will click on this. Once I do this, Terraform will basically scan my folder for all of the Terraform code. It will download the packages for the Azure RM that I have referred to, which is going to be the providers. And it's going to basically create a reference for this project. So once I have done this, the next step is I'm going to utilize another proper command, which is going to be Terraform. Let's clear this up. Terraform plan. And with Terraform plan here, basically, it's going to scan my code and it's going to check what is it going to be doing against my Azure subscription. So once I clicked Terraform plan, it's basically telling me that it's going to be doing some creation or create resources on the cloud. And if I delve down here, we can see it's going to be creating a resource group, and it's going to say the UK for it is going to be UK South, and this is the name for it. And at the end, it will give us a summary of all of the action that's going to be doing. So at the end, we can see it's going to say it's going to add one resource for us. There's zero change to any resource, and it's not going to destroy anything. So now I know exactly what's going to happen when I execute. Now I want to execute my code, and the way I do that, let's clear this up. I'm gonna put Terraform apply, and once I do this, again, it's gonna run through the plan again to make sure nothing has changed. And then once it runs through the plan, it's gonna ask me, are you sure you want to perform these actions? I'm gonna say yes. And now it's gonna basically take whatever resources I have here, and it's gonna send it to Azure in order for it to be created. And we can see here, apply completed, and you have one resource added. So now if I go back to Azure, and if I click on resource group and I refresh, we can see I have demo YouTube live, and within this demo YouTube live, I have an empty resource group that I can actually utilize, which is great. So now we can see that I was able to communicate through it directly. If I want to cancel it, I can put, or if I want to remove it, I can put Terraform destroy. And what Terraform destroy basically is going to take whatever resources that I decide to create on the cloud, and it's going to basically delete them from the cloud. So now we can see it's going to say it's going to destroy one of them. If I click on yes, we're able to see that it's actually destroying it now. And if we give it a few seconds, it's going to tell me that it has been destroyed successfully. And we can see one item has been destroyed. And if I go back here to my web browser and I click on refresh, demo YouTube live should be gone. And we can see here it's gone. So it's not available anymore. Okay, great. So now we have able to see how we can actually create and destroy resources on Azure. Now let's see how we can create my storage account that we were discussing before. So now if I want to create my storage account, what I can do here is I can put resource Azure RM underscore storage account, and I want to give it a name. I'm just going to call it demo underscore storage, and this is the variable name that I'm going to be utilizing. And now what I want to do is I want to actually specify what do I want to have inside my storage account, or what are the configuration for my storage account. The first thing is going to be a name, and I'm going to call it demo YouTube live storage. Then what I want to do is I want to specify within the storage what are the resource group that's going to be utilizing, and this is where the name of the variable is useful. So I need to put here Azure RM underscore resource group, and basically here I'm defining that I'm specifying the type first, and then I specify the variable name, and in this case it's going to be demo RG, and then I specify the name. And once I've done this, I now have my name for my storage account, and I have my resource group, and now I want to specify the location for my storage account. It's going to be the same thing as my resource group, so I'm just going to put dot location. So now I have my name, my resource group name, as well as the location of the storage. And now I want to specify the type of storage that I want to utilize. And if you're wondering how do I know all of that, if we go back to the documentation here, we can see that within Azure RM, I can see that I have all of these different resources that I can create. So now let's see what happens if I type on storage, and we can see here within storage, I have Azure Blob, I have data source, I have a lot of different information, but what I'm interested in is Azure storage. So I can put Azure storage, and through this, if I go under storage, we can see the Azure storage account. So if I click on it, we can see here all of the different, the sample example that this provides me, as well as the different information that are needed. So the different parameters, so I can see I have my name, my resource group name, the location, the account kind, as well as the account tier, etc., etc. So all of these information here are what are the configuration that I can input within my storage account variable. As well, the nice thing about it, we can see also what is the optional one and what are the required one in order for me to be able to create. So for example, if I'm missing one of the required, it will not execute. If I'm missing one of the optional, it will let it go and it will be able to execute. So right now what I have done, I have added the name, I have added the resource group name, I have added the location. Now I need to add the account here as well as the account replication type. So let's see how we can do this. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to put account tier, and if I'm not sure what are the account tier, what I can do, I can just copy this and look for it here, and we can see the account tier that I provided are standard, premium, block to storage. So for now I'm just going to go with standard. So I'm just going to copy standard, and then the last item that I want to specify within this main configuration is going to be the account replication type, and I'm going to say it's going to be local redundant storage. Again, if we take a copy, if we copy this and we go back to the web browser and we look for it here, we can see that we have all these different types. So we have local redundant storage, we have zone redundancy, we have geo redundancy, etc., etc. I'm gonna stick with the local redundancy. As well, I can specify tags. So I can just take this, I can say, for example, tags. I can say here this is gonna be staging, and I just realized I have a typo. This should be account tier, not access tier, and not access tier. Okay, great. So now that I have specified my name, my tags, and everything that I have here, what I was able to do is actually I was able to configure all of my configuration for my, again, this is very basic configuration for my storage in order for me to utilize it. So now if I want to run this and check it against on the cloud, I'm gonna again open my terminal. I don't need to do Terraform init again because I have already done that. What I can do right now is I can directly do the plan. So I can put Terraform plan, and then basically this will tell me that's going to be a resource group that needs to be created and a storage, so 2 items. And if I take a look here, we can see all of those different configurations that's going to be applied once I create them. And if I want to execute it, I'm just going to say Terraform apply. Let me clear this up. And now if I want to execute it, I say Terraform apply. And this should take a few seconds, and then it's going to ask me, do I want to do this? I'm going to say yes, and it should take also like a few seconds to complete. Okay, now it has been created successfully. Now if I go back to my web browser, if I refresh this here, we have demo YouTube live again. If I click on it, now inside I can see that I have my storage account, and within the storage account I have actually everything that I needed to configure, which is everything available for me. Okay, great. So now through Terraform I was able to create my resource group, and I was able to create my storage account. There's 2 other items that I would like us to discuss here, and basically we can see here through staging what I have done is I was actually hard-coded staging for this environment. How can I make this more dynamic in order for me to have like a variable type? So if I want to create this environment within staging, within development, I don't have to change the source code, I can just change the variable. And in order for me to do that, what I want to do is I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it variables.ts.tf, and what I want to do here is I'm just going to specify a variable that I want to utilize, and then it's going to ask me, what do you want to call this variable? And I'm going to call it, say, environment. And once I do this, it's going to ask me now, I want to specify what types of variable it's going to be. So we can see here I have type, and I'm going to specify that this is going to be of type string, and it's going to give me a description and ask me if I want to specify a description. I'm going to say yes, and this is going to be what is the environment I want to use. So this description here is going to be shown to me whenever I want to execute or utilize any of this environment. So now I created a variable. How can I link this variable here to my main.tf? It's going to be pretty straightforward. I can use string concatenation here, and the way I do that, I just put $, brackets, and then I put var dot and environment. And basically this is how I actually refer to this. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna destroy this. So I'm gonna put Terraform clear. I'm gonna say Terraform. And before we do this as well, actually let's destroy it. Again, I can directly see that's asking me for an environment name. I'm just gonna leave it empty for now. I'm gonna click yes. Okay. Now that everything is destroyed, what I want to do is I'm going to clear it first. And then what I want to do is I want to embed these variables in the name so I would know. So what I want to do is for the resource group, I'm just going to add the environment to it. So again, I'm going to put $var.env. This is for the environment, and I'm going to do it on the, that's it, on the resource group. So whenever I have a resource group, I know this is going to be a resource group for testing, for staging, or etc, etc. So now I'm just going to put Terraform plan again. It's going to ask me, what do you want to call this environment that you're going to be using? I'm just going to call it dev. So now it's going to run the Terraform plan. And I want to show you one thing. Now if we go all the way up, we can see here that the resource group name is going to be called demo YouTube live -dev, and because I specified the parameter as dev. So now if I put, let's clear this up, Terraform apply, and we run this. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say dev again, sorry. I'm gonna say yes, enter value. I want to create them, yes. And this will take also a few seconds to complete. So now it has finished. If we go back to my web browser, go to resource group and click on refresh, we can see here that demo-live now has dev. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope I was able to convince you why Terraform is really important and why every single developer needs to learn it. Even if you don't want to be a full expert in infrastructure as code, it's really helpful to understand what's going on in the background and basically how much more easier it is to actually recreate resources on Azure or any different cloud provider using Terraform. And through this way, we can actually also run tests on it, security tests, quality tests. We can actually scan for vulnerabilities, etc. etc. So again, I highly recommend using Terraform, and I hope this video was helpful. If you'd like to support me, please consider supporting me on Patreon or buying me a coffee. If you have any questions, please make sure you put them in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.